Thank you so much for that kind introduction, and let me applaud the remarks by the two previous speakers and tell you that I align myself completely with everything they said, and I don't plan on repeating those very eloquent words. I would like to pay my respects to Mrs. Rajavi and everyone associated with the movement to free Iran. This is my 10th year involved in this wonderful effort, wonderful humanitarian effort. I have witnessed over the last 10 years scandalous, outrageous, unspeakable cruelty on the part of the Iranian regime towards its own people. There is no question that Iran is the number one exporter of and supporter of global terrorism in many parts of the world. They continually cause difficulties politically and diplomatically. And there's no question that their ultimate goal is to develop weapons of mass destruction, especially nuclear weapons. So this is a regime that has clearly identified itself as the enemy of freedom-loving people. It has a judicial system that routinely assassinates and arrests and executes innocent people by any global standard. Mayor Giuliani mentioned the Iranian champion wrestler Navid Afkari, despite a global outcry and protest, was executed. They have reportedly made threats to assassinate a U.S. ambassador in retaliation for the rightful removal from the planet of Major General Qasem Soleimani, who himself is responsible for the death of hundreds, if not thousands, of people. So what Iran is and what it has been for the past few decades is beyond question. The question is, what do we do about it? I believe that the world community is increasingly willing to isolate evil regimes through sanctions and condemnation. If you just witness the current agreements executed in Washington, that certainly would send shockwaves through Tehran, because obviously the circle of countries that are in direct opposition to what Iran stands for today is growing by leaps and bounds. Today there are four principal threats to freedom on the planet. They are China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran. And I think that the clear lines are forming in the defense of those freedoms and democratic values. The world community is uniting, but we still must do more. I believe that there should be more isolation of the leaders of those countries, especially the Iranian leaders. Internationally, they should not be welcome in organizations that are free and democratic, as long as they continue their crimes against humanity. We must continue to support the Iranian people wherever possible. The analogy of World War II that was just mentioned by David Jones is absolutely spot on in terms of what it is we can and must do to support the NCRI and support the people of Iran, because ultimately it will be them who will topple the regime. And despite everything else that we can do, it will be the people of Iran that will rise up, hopefully in the near future, to usher in a new wave and a new history for the great Iranian people. And Iran will once again be welcomed into the community of nations. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had the privilege of doing many things in my life, but none more worthwhile than being part of this great effort in the cause of freedom for the oppressed people of Iran. I am deeply appreciative of the leadership that Mrs. Rajavi has provided and the 10 points that are Jeffersonian in their principles and hopefully someday will come to pass in the not too distant future. For my part, I intend to continue in this noble cause for as long as it takes to see the freedom, the just freedom that Iranian people deserve. And I look forward to the day when we will gather in Tehran to celebrate that achieved goal that all nations should strive to help achieve as quickly as possible. Thank you.